Hi, welcome to our first week of our Wellness Wednesday, weekly Wellness Wednesday. Please let me know your preferred time in the comments. I can do this 3 hours earlier, 9:30 a.m. WA time, or it'll be late evening on a Wednesday WA time, so 8 hours after this, so around 7 p.m. In WA time. So please let me know if it'd be really great to join live. There will be a recording provided, but it'd be amazing to join live with everyone as well, so we could have a little interaction as well. But welcome to our very first Wellness Wednesday. And our topic for today is all about triggers. So, how does everyone feel about triggers? I'm sure no one feels good about this. Leave a comment. What are your feelings about triggers? It's probably one of the biggest reasons why people seek help or get counseling, therapy, healing, any form of healing because of a trigger. And finally, they just think, okay, now I need to do something about it once it becomes pretty, starts affecting your life. A lot of my clients come because either they've been triggered or it's actually got to a stage where it's affecting their health. Um, and they've, they've decided finally to do something about it. And what do you see as triggers? So most would say trigger is a form of emotional reaction, which it is. But most will say a trigger is when you react, or when you have an outburst, or when there's an emotional stress or something that comes up for you. Um, and this could be internal, and or it could be through a reaction, through an outwardly expression. And how many times do you think we get triggered? And what do we do about it? Um, so leave a comment in what your thoughts are. How many times do you get triggered very often? Is it something that's daily or something very rare? Happens once in a while and it throws you. So I would say most people are triggered daily because a trigger isn't always something that's an outburst, something that's big or reactive. A trigger can also be when you're in your overthinking in your mind, rerunning conversations. These are all secondary to having a trigger where you've felt uncomfortable about a conversation, where you've had to step back and think about it again, or procrastinate and not be able to make a decision because you're afraid to be judged or seen or misunderstood. All of those things are through the trigger, a trigger itself. So, and a lot of us are in overthinking and overwhelm a lot of the times. So, but people only see it as a trigger when they've had an outburst. An outburst or a reaction normally happens once you become overwhelmed with all those overthinking and procrastinating and fearing and being in doubt. So they're actually, I'll call them as micro triggers, where you cannot stop a conversation going on around in your head, just overthinking it, rerunning it. And these are micro triggers. And it's all, the reaction normally happens after these micro triggers have become overwhelming. So we'll go back to what do we do about it? And a lot of the times we blame. We go into why did she do this? How could she do this? Or he or they? How could they? Like, what is wrong with them? Why would anyone treat me like this? And we go into blame. And then we go into avoidance. So we actually start avoiding them. We stop being around them. And we actually get told in therapy, in healing work, and I've done it myself as well, is to step away from the toxic environments where you get triggered because we're told our energy mirrors who we hang around. So if we're hanging around people that are gossiping, that are judging, we're like, that's going to rub off of me. I don't want to be around these people. But what we don't realize, we're actually judging them and we're actually in the same boat as they are. So we'll go with, where do triggers come from? Again, leave anything in comments if you like. But they do come from past trauma, old wounds, stories that we play out, our memories of a trauma or a situation. But is this where they truly come from? Or do they actually come from the belief that we've stored about ourselves through that trauma, through the experience we had in childhood, in a situation, in a relationship? Or a belief can even be stored through rerunning the trauma, the story. So we could be going to therapy and rerunning those traumas and stories, and we start storing different beliefs, or beliefs that we didn't even know existed. So we can actually store the belief even through rerunning the stories, telling our friends, telling our family about what happened, and it just keeps escalating. And what we don't realize what we're doing is we're actually storing a belief about ourselves. I'm not good enough. I feel shame. I feel guilty. And it just keeps on looping. So even though we start avoiding people and places because it's been stored, because it's something that's within us, it doesn't matter where you go. And that's why it keeps rerunning. The same things keep happening at different places because of the beliefs that we've stored about ourselves. So it doesn't matter how much you avoid. I've avoided my mom for a very long time. But every time I speak, the triggers happen, and then I work on myself, another trigger happens. But slowly, when you start really realizing your limiting beliefs, those triggers won't occur. And they will keep showing up until you've dealt with them. And they might show up as micro triggers until a big happens, and then you realize, oh, I'm still triggered by this. So yeah, until we actually face our triggers, we're actually avoiding changing our beliefs, the stored limiting beliefs. And we can only change our situation through changing ourselves. We can't change other people. We also stay so focused on blaming and why someone else is doing what. Yes, no one's saying they're doing anything right. No one's excusing their behavior, but we can't change them. That's their work. We can only change ourselves. So I've got a little client story. She's happy to share. So I had a client who's been seeing me for quite a while. Had quite a traumatic childhood, and we've been going through all her triggers, her trauma, her inner child work, shadow work, everything. And really, she was progressing really well. But then she came to one of our sessions and said that she actually can't believe she got triggered with her boss. And she was quite upset with herself, upset with her boss as well, obviously. She felt like she was being attacked, questioned. It's like they were questioning her integrity or decision making, and trying to catch her out. That's what she felt like they were trying to do. And she reacted. And she had an outburst with her boss. And yes, she left the office, felt really guilty, felt rubbish. Obviously, she knew she was going to see me, so we could unravel this. But she couldn't understand it. Why would a boss do this? What does this mean? Have they been doubting her all this time? Is this why she didn't get that promotion? Or is there people talking about her? Is there people backstabbing her? Is there someone out to get her? All of those thoughts just surfaced. And yeah, she was quite upset when she came to see me. Um, so what we went through was I asked her, where has this happened before? Where you felt like you've been questioned, where you felt people are doubting you. And she had to have a little think, but she realized that there was actually quite recently that one of a close friend, kind of questioned her because she'd made a decision, she'd made an investment, and she was sharing it with people. And um, obviously, she was worried about sharing it, but she felt like it was a good investment, so I'm going to share it. And a friend was like, she was posting on socials, and a friend was like, "What is this? Like, what are you doing? Like, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Can you stop posting this? It's like, it's embarrassing." And at that point, she was like, "Wow, okay, well, you can block me if you like. I'm doing this." And she believed, she was like, "Okay, you know what?" She kind of stepped back, thought, "This isn't my issue. This is her issue. Something's triggered her. It's got nothing to do with me. So I'm not going to take this personally." And she handled it. She felt like she handled it really well. But she did get affected by it, obviously. And she did cut down her posting. And every time she posted, she felt nervous, and she even posted and then deleted. So it definitely affected her, even though she thought, no, this is not my issue, not my problem. It's hers. And then she went back, looked back that she's had this in previous workplaces where she's took initiative and did a few things, and she got questioned or they corrected her a lot of the times, saying, she's not following the guidelines, she's not following the protocols. And she remembers at one point she actually was shaking when they were correcting, like she worked really hard on it, took it to the office, and the marketing officer completely corrected everything. And she felt very triggered, like she felt a bit attacked, felt it was personal. Um, your guidelines don't really, they're not relevant to my job. Um, and she felt very similar feeling to her boss, that, they were questioning her integrity, that she doesn't have the knowledge or skills, or she's not good enough. So yeah, we unraveled. And then she said she's felt this in her younger years as well, where she's always found she's kind of avoided bosses and people in hierarchy. For some reason, she's afraid of being questioned, which she doesn't know why. School, she got teased. So we're still trying to unravel where has she collected this belief of not being good enough or not having the knowledge. Um, at school, she got teased. And yes, she quietened down then because she used to always put her hands up to answer, and then she got teased for that. So she started sort of stepping back in class and not answering questions. So we went even further back. Okay, let's look at your childhood. Was there anything there where they've said you're not good enough? Um, or where you could have to question yourself, your decisions? And she was like, no, not really, because she's always been an overachiever. She's always had really good grades, been great at sports. Her parents always classed her out of the siblings as the clever one, the hardworking one. I was like, oh, okay. Well, then I kind of latched onto the overachiever. So I was like, what was making you overachieve? Were you compensating for something else that you may have had a belief about? Um, and I think that kind of hit the chord. And she was like, underlying all her life, she has had a feeling or a worry that she's not a good person, that she's a bad person. So she's kind of masked that feeling. She's been ashamed of it. And she's been like, I don't want people to know, that I'm bad. I'm not a good person. And I was like, where has that come from? And she goes, her mom, yeah, she used to compare her to her dad. And her mom and dad had a very volatile relationship. That, oh, you're just like your dad. Like, she'll get angry and she'll just always compare. And you're not a good person. You're not a good girl. You're a bad person. And she remembers that. And she's angry at her mom for that. But she didn't realize that that's what's been brewing underneath all this time, and that she's been masking it. And then when she gets asked, questioned, she's triggered that, oh my God, it's revealed. They think I'm bad person. They don't like me. They've been trying to catch me out, and all those thoughts that, oh my gosh, I've been revealed. I've been like, they know the truth. So yes, that was a massive revelation for her. So then I asked her next, where do you feel this tension in your body? So if you relax, where do you feel the tension? And she was like, for the longest time in her life, she has had locked jaw, tense, stiff jaw. It causes her headaches, stiff neck, tension on her neck. And that is straight away suppressing her anger, not expressing herself, not showing her true self, that tension in the neck, clenching tight. I hope no one sees why she has that pain in her jaw. So what we needed to do now, because at the end of the day, it's what we do. We build a story, a memory about what happened. My mom said I'm a bad person, and she meant it. She hates me. She thinks I'm not nice. So I need to overgive, overachieve, make her proud of me. But did your mom really think that? You don't know. That was something you perceived through that situation, and you took it on as you. Whereas mom could have just had a really bad day, a fight with the dad. She could have been told she's bad. Maybe she feels some form of guilt or shame and she's projecting. Not to excuse her, everyone is acting or reacting or living through their trauma. And like I said, we can't change them. We can only change ourselves. But we've built up this story, this meaning, this identity through someone else's trauma. And as a child, you don't know that. You see your parents as be all and all. They're your caregivers. They're the ones that nurture you, that look after you. If they're saying, I'm bad, I'm bad. And you're going to take that on. And that has protected you till a certain point. Whereas now it's hindering you. It's made you work hard. It's made you the person you are. So there are things that it did made you achieve lots. But it made you achieve a lot. But what she struggled most was she works really hard in each workplace, gives it all, brings in new changes, brings in lots of innovation, new ideas. But she doesn't get the promotion ever. So then she takes it personally. And then she reacts. And then she goes to a new workplace, avoids it, and then goes to somewhere else. Same thing happens, works really hard, all in, while everyone else is chatting, having fun, making friends, socializing. She's all in, doing her very best. But the reason she isn't going to that next level is because of that belief about herself. If she's a bad person, she doesn't deserve it. She's not worthy of it. It doesn't matter how much she proves herself, because that's still sitting there. So yeah, it's helped her achieve and learn and be skillful and knowledgeable, but now it's hindering. Now it's not letting her reach the next level and be seen as her true self, because she's still carrying that, I'm a bad person. And so she doesn't actually value herself. So to fix that, what we did was soften your face first. First thing is to always, whenever you're doing any form of healing work, any form of changing your beliefs, any form of letting go, deleting, you don't do it from a place of anger, place of frustration, place of reaction, because you're actually just confirming those beliefs more when you're doing it from those places. And your nervous system's just going to reject it or store another new belief that you don't want. So always do it from a higher place, from a softer place, and from a kind place, that this was there for a reason. It protected me because I couldn't take those words coming from my mother. I stored it away. It was protecting me from feeling the feelings of, mom hates me, she thinks I'm a bad person, like for a child. You know, that is, they don't know how to deal with that. That's a really big emotion. So we store it away. And so it's softening your face, softening your jaw, your neck, getting rid of tension, slowing down your breath. And then just, you simply command, I don't identify with the feeling of being a bad person. That is not me. It is not mine. Because we have to get rid of the I am. I'm just a bad person. I must be a bad person. As soon as we identify it, it's us. We can't get rid of it. So I don't identify it with you. I name you. You're that belief of a bad person. You're not mine. I send you away. I let you go. You're no longer needed. And you could do that with a smile on your face. And it's done. It's gone. I made a decision. So when you decide, it's done. When you declare, it's done. You do it with firmness, but with gentle and kindness as well. But firmness, that it's done. No, we're not, oh, please leave me. Don't stay with me. It's okay. I'm really thankful you were here. No, none of that. It's like a outstayed welcome guest. You cannot let them go in that way. Because they'll be like, oh, okay, I might just stay another night. No, you are leaving. Kindly. And that's done. That's gone. And then next is to change that belief and tell yourself, I am a good person. In your heart, where your pain is, neck, tension, I am a good person. I have a beautiful heart. And then find evidence of all the times you've been amazing. You're an amazing mom. My children love me. I'm valued by my partner, my friends. They all know I'm a kind person. I'm a good person. I know I'm a good person. And that is me. And it's always been me. And you really embody that. And that is something you have to do every day. And when you start doing that in your heart, feeling it and claiming it, and then collecting evidence for it, things start changing. Things start shifting. You're not going to go to work and think, oh, everyone's against me. They must be like plotting against me. All those thoughts. You'll be like, no, I'm a good person. I believe in myself. I don't need to over defend myself. I don't need to overgive. I don't need to prove myself. I trust my knowledge, my skills. So yeah. Right. So I can go on a tangent. So that's just why I've got notes to remember. So yeah, she's been suppressing her anger, not expressing her true self. She's also been masking and hiding for a long time because of the belief that she is bad. So when we do such things, there is sometimes a grieving process, because that is a belief you've had for a long time. You've had to overgive, overprove, over explain. That has always been you. And now we're moving away from that. That's not you. You don't need to do those things because they're secondary to those beliefs. And you believe in yourself. So I think I've spoke about all my notes anyway. So yeah, in this way, you don't overgive, you don't over explain, and it takes consistency. And this is the work I do in my one-on-one coaching, wellness coaching, embodied wellness coaching. It is over 10 weeks because things come up. Even though I've been working with her for a while, that trigger came out of nowhere. We worked over so many things, relationship with her mom, but that trigger came from nowhere because we just sort of unraveled, but right at the bottom was sitting, I'm a bad person. And to actually think that it's quite a big thing. That's really going to rule your life for a long time, and stop you from progressing. If you think you're a bad person, you're never going to progress. You're never going to value yourself. And it's strange how, if you know what, it's like you emit that energy, and people maybe do question it then, what's going on. So yeah, one-on-one work, 10 weeks, it is limited spaces. Price is also a discounted rate, and at the moment, probably up until July. So it's 2,500 for 10 weeks, our Zoom sessions every week. Because I have done this fortnightly and people just go back into the old ways. And the beliefs is something we have to embody, something we have to be consistent at, to really embody the new identity. And there are things will come up. The universe will send challenges, which is amazing. And it's not easy to spot because they could be underlying. There's a form of questioning and really looking deep. What is the actual belief sitting right at the bottom? That's causing all the secondary reactions, the micro reactions. And yeah, a lot of people come to me once they've got to a stage where they're actually physically, it's affecting their health. That is, I think, the biggest trigger when people actually take notice. But we have lots of micro triggers, and they happen in the daily. But let me know if you're interested and we can talk more about it, see if you're right for it. It does need commitment, full commitment, because there's a lot of commitment from myself. So I require that commitment from yourself, and there will be resistance because, like I said, there is a grieving process. We are actually letting something die, something go, whole identity, to be honest. And you don't need to avoid people. You don't need to lose all your family members. You don't need to become lonely and alone when you get, because trust me, it gets to a stage where, yes, you might choose not to be around them because they just don't vibe with you, but you don't have to avoid them. And yeah, let me know if this is something you're interested in, but I'm excited for next week. Next week, we're going to talk about our desires. What do we desire? Because a lot of us struggle to actually know what we desire in our life. What is it that we truly desire? Because we're so wrapped up in our trauma, in all our limiting beliefs. Everything was like in a shell of all these other things that we can't break through into our authentic self and know our true desire. So I look forward to seeing you next week. But please leave in comments if you want a different time, if you want to be part of this on the live, which I would love to have, people coming onto the live. And I'll see you next week.